Welcome everybody to my driver ratings for the 2025 Formula One Singapore Grand Prix. If you don't know, every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend, we hop on the stream and review everything from the weekend. We look at the race highlights, we look at the drivers' reactions, we look at F1 Fantasy, F1 Predict, we look at all the news, and then we end the stream on Twitch, on TikTok, on YouTube, where we rate the drivers out of 10. We go in reverse finishing order. And yeah, you guys will have a poll to vote on. So if you're watching on TikTok or YouTube right now, come join us on Twitch and come have a vote on the polls. Now, obviously, everyone does ratings differently. How I personally like to rate is based off of the driver's performance over the course of the weekend, specifically qualifying and the race. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off with the first driver, we have got Nico Hülkenberg. Went very much backwards in the race. The poll is up. This is how the poll looks. Again, all you have to do is type in Twitch chat the number, type in Twitch chat the number that you want to vote for, and it will go up on the poll. So yeah. Rate Nico Hülkenberg's weekend out of 10. So, start off with Nico. Now, in qualifying, he qualified P11, which is his best qualifying in like 7 qualifyings. He out-qualified Bortoleto by 1/10, and he qualified P11. He out-qualified Liam, Yuki, his teammate, Stroll, and Ocon. He's on the verge of making Q3. I think he did better than what I expected the Sauber to do this weekend. So I thought it was pretty good. But then in the race, he dropped all the way down to last. He had a spin, dropped it all on his own. Too much brake and locked the rears. And yeah, finished in last. Now, before he locked his brakes, where was he? Before he locked his brakes, he's running a P16, so he already lost 5 positions at this point. Well, some people hadn't pitted yet. But yeah, I think he had like an okay weekend. I mean, the spin wasn't great, and he finished in last, but he didn't crash. And I think he had a good qualifying, so I'm thinking to give him a 4 out of 10. But what do you guys think? After you put your rating in chat, by the way, let me know why you voted for what you did. Yeah, but I didn't realize it was that bad. This will be interesting. Yeah, I don't know how the ratings are going to go this week because we didn't see over half the drivers on the broadcast. Also, I just forgot, I've not read any followers today. X Crispy, Zway, 123 Oxy, Cross Hunter, and Reezy. Thank you guys for the follows. Welcome to the stream. Div 4, Cross Hunter, one of the stream guys. I'm gonna say 6 because I just think that he's a great driver and he's had some pretty crappy races, but he kept out of the walls. So for me, that's my right. Are you saying it's above average weekend for him? I don't know about that. He finished last. Yeah, I'm gonna say a 4 because he gets a point for qualifying. But he did not do well in the race at all. So I'm gonna say a 4. Majority of you guys saying 3. I think it's a little bit low, but you do you. All right, next up we have got Pierre Gasly. Bro is struggling in the Alpine right now. What do you rate Gasly out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Gasly qualified P18. He got qualified by his teammate by 3/10, but Gasly's car did break down at the end of the qualifying session. And then in the race, he didn't manage to move up any positions, and he finished 4 seconds behind his teammate. So not too bad. Yeah, he's not really doing anything wrong. It's just the car sucks. But then again, I'd like to see Gasly doing better and finishing ahead of his teammates. So yeah, I'm going to give Gasly a 3 out of 10. He didn't crash. Did he crash? No, he had the problem. Excuse me. He had the problem in quality, which was no fault of his own. So yeah, I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. Majority of you guys saying 3 as well. Yeah, it's kind of hard to rate someone who's not on screen and just at the back of the grid with a poo car. So yeah. Dr. Bravestone, what is up, dude? Welcome to the stream. Pitted with 10 laps to go. Oh, he went really long. Right, I see. At a point, we can't really judge the Alpine guy. Yeah, true. Exactly. It's really, really hard. All right, next up, we have got Esteban Ocon. What do you rate Ocon out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. Now, Ocon is someone who did have a poor weekend because his teammate qualified P9. He made it through to Q3, whilst Ocon went out in Q1. He got out qualified by Behrman by 5 tenths. Then, in the race, Behrman managed to secure points, and Ocon held position in P18, stuck behind Bortoleto, Colapinto, and everyone else. I think he had a really, really poor weekend. Now, he didn't crash, but it was very weak in comparison to his teammates. So I'm going to give him a 3 out of 10. But now that I'm thinking about it, giving him a 3 out of 10 and giving Gazzy a 3 out of 10. Oh, Gazzy also lost out to his teammate, to be fair. Who's the other one I gave a 3 out of 10 to? Hulk. No. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's fair. Maybe a 2.5 because, yeah, you know what? I'm going to, even though he didn't crash, I'm giving Ocon a 2.5 because of how far he was off his teammate. We'll go 2.5 for Ocon this weekend. I think that's fair. 4, and I think it's a lot. Ocon had that belt issue and then got impeded by the yellow on his only 2 laps. He looked very quick this weekend and faster than Ollie, but couldn't do any laps of quality, which ruined his race. Bro had that message ready and waiting. That's a good point. That is a good point. I'm gonna bump back up to a 3, but still, it's not great that he was so far off his teammate. Specifically in qualifying, which is what kind of caused all his problems with the weekend. Right, majority of you guys saying a 2 for Ocon. Not much more really to say about him. Next up, we've got Gabriel Bortoleto. What do you rate Bortoleto's weekend out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. So Bortoleto got out qualified by his teammate for the first time in a little while by 1/10. Also got out qualified by Yuki and Liam. And then in the race, finished in P17. He lost 3 positions. Yeah, he lost 3 positions, which isn't great. He still finished ahead of his teammate, but obviously his teammate spun. And Hulkenberg spun and still only finished 1.5 seconds behind Bortoleto. So, I don't know. Bortoleto, pretty poor weekend. I think Hulkenberg had better quality and race pace. And I gave Hulkenberg a 4. So, I'm going to give Bortoleto a... I'm going with 3.5. I'm going with 3.5. 0.5 less than Hulkenberg. But yeah, I think the Sauber just wasn't too great this weekend. But he didn't really do much with it either. So, yeah. 3.5 for Bortoleto. I'm going to give 4, to be honest. I can't remember anything from him. Yeah, I mean, again, it doesn't help when they don't really show these guys on the broadcast at all. All right, we're pumping out these back markers who are all getting 3s and 4s. Next up, we've got Franco Colapinto. What do you rate Franco out of 10? I think Franco did okay this weekend for his standards. He outqualified his teammate. Obviously, his teammate did have an issue, but still. Outqualified him by 3 tenths and just missed out on Q2. Then in the race, managed to hang on to P16. Excuse me. Well, both Williams got past him, but he got past Bortoleto, both Saubers. Yeah, I don't think he did too bad. I think for his standards, I'd give him a 5. For overall standards, kind of, yeah, probably just like maybe like a 4, 4.5. Like, I mean, he did outqualify Ocon. Did finish ahead of Bortoleto. Yeah, I could see a 4.5. I'd see a 4.5. He's a little bit of menace in the race, though, driving into people. 081, thank you for the follow. 5, quality ahead of Gasly and made triple overtake at the start. And yeah, true, I forgot about his race start. I'll go 4.5. I'll hold him at that. So poor at the start, at that back of the pack. Yeah. That car is shit, bump him up 1. All right, majority of you guys saying 5. That's fair. That's fair. All right, let's get past all the people who were not on the broadcast and had nothing happen to them this weekend. All right, Liam Lawson, what do you rate him out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. If you just tuned in the stream, by the way, welcome in. We're doing our driver ratings. We do this every single Monday on the stream. If you want to vote on the poll, all you got to do is type in, in Twitch chat, the number you want to vote for, and it'll pop up on the poll. YKNN Twitch, what does that do on the stream? So, Liam had a bit of a weird weekend. He obviously crashed in both practices. We don't take practices into account for the ratings unless the practice affects your car aka let you crash in practice and then you can't compete in qualifying. But yeah, he crashed in both practices, which was not great. He then came into qualify with his confidence a little bit down, and to be honest, he did better than what I thought for his 2 crashes, but still wasn't great. He was 3/10 off of Hadja. Hadja qualified P8. He went out in P12. He got out qualified by Hulkenberg, Alonso, and Behrman. But yeah, it wasn't bad. It was just could have been better. And then in the race, he actually had good, decent race pace. He was ahead of Sainz, and Sainz ended up getting points. But something happened after he pit. He managed to be 2 seconds ahead of Sainz, and then ended up coming out 4 seconds behind Sainz and finished 5 positions below Sainz. So yeah, really, really weird race for Liam. Really, really weird weekend in general. I think he showed decent race pace though. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give him a. I think a 4 is fair, right? I think a 4, 3.5 or 4. What we should take on the McLaren crap. We spoke about it earlier in the stream. My take is Lando and Piastri did nothing wrong. It's just the way McLaren are handling it that's bad. Crashed hard to die. Yeah, well, we're not going to rate practice though. Cooked a free practice, did alright in quali, but fell back in the race. 4, decent recovery. Not sure what happened to lose all those positions. It's difficult to build up to a good quality with 2 practice crashes in the street circuit. Yep, that's true. We would know what happened if F1 TV actually showed it. True. I'm trying to think. Is 4 too high? His race pace was good. Who else did I give 3s? Maybe it's a 3.5. Maybe I'm being too generous. My dog woke when he heard you. Hell yeah. Is 4 too kind? Nah, you guys have given him 4 as well. I'll leave him at 4. Alright, majority of you guys saying 4 as well. Alright. Next up, we have got Alex Albon. What do you rate Albon out of 10? Now Albon was an interesting one. Where did he qualify? Where did he qualify before the DSQ came into play? Because that's important. P13. Right, okay, so he qualified P13. And then, oh wait, the poll wasn't up. Sorry, 1 sec. Poll's now up. Get your votes on the poll. If you already voted, revote because it wasn't up. Okay. So, okay, we need some more exciting music than this. What is this? What is happening right now? Oh, yeah, man. This tiredness this sickness is hitting me hard, bro. So yeah, in qualifying, Albon qualified P13, but he got DSQ'd because of the DRS problem. So he started at the back of the grid, and he managed to work his way up to P14, but his teammate finished P10. So I think Albon kind of slacked in comparison to his teammate this weekend. So with that said, I think I'm going to give him a... What did I give Colapinto? I think I gave Colapinto a 4.5. I think Albon a 4 is pretty fair. Like, yeah, it's a shame that he got DSQ'd, but he didn't really do as much work as Carlos did. So I think a 4 is fair. Is 14 the good comeback? I don't know. I think they put it Albon earlier, but they were both on a long strat, right? All right, I'm going to say 4 for Albon. Majority of you guys saying 5. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Next up, we have got Lance Stroll. Polls up, get your votes in. So Lance got out qualified by his teammate by 2/10. Lance went out in 15th. Alonso went out in 10th. Lance got out qualified by Bortoletto, Sonoda, Lawson, and Hulkenberg. At least he made Q2, right, guys? At least he made Q2, right? Wait, did he? No, he went out in Q1. Sorry. Lance went out in Q1. And so did Bortoletto, actually, when we were talking about Bortoletto before. I forgot. It's because the Williams got DSQ'd after the session that it looks like they didn't go out in Q1. He made. Yeah, so Stroll went out in Q1. Qualified by his teammate by 2 attempts. And Alonso made it all the way through to Q3. So, Yeah. Then in the race, Alonso managed to get points and finished P7, whereas Lance finished in P13. Specifically, Stroll finished 5, 6, 12, 25, 37, 37 seconds behind his teammate. Yikes. Yeah. I think that is a 3 performance if I've ever seen one. From Stroll. I mean, he managed to work his way up to P 13, but still. Anyway. He had a double overtake, Drugo's Hamilton type moment, by the way, and we didn't see it because of TV direction. Damn. Give him lenience. His tires were 100 laps old. Oh, it's 100 lap old tires. To be honest, he was on soft. Yeah, to be fair, he actually did a really good job of managing those softs. We'll give him a 3.5. I think that's fair. Stroll, it doesn't belong in F1, so 0. Oof. 3 is crazy. 3 is harsh. What would you give them then, Drew, in F? 0, 5, 3? I know it's hard because you're just nowhere near your teammate. Line or Lynn and Day Montagarian. There goes the follows. 4. But he went out in Q1 and his teammate made Q3. Now I'm sticking with 3.5. Majority of you guys saying 4 on the poll. All right, next up, we have got Yuki Tsunoda. What do you rate Yuki out of 10? So, Yuki went out in 13th. He got out-qualified by his teammate by 8 tenths. Again, he got qualified by Liam, Hulkenberg, Alonso, Behrman, and Hedger. Then in the race, he managed to move up 1 position. And finished 1.9 seconds behind Hedger, who finished 8 seconds behind Sainz. Yeah, look, for Red Bull standards, it's not terrible. But not finishing in the points when your teammates qualifying P2 and finishing P2 is not great. So, yeah, I think it's a 3 for Yuki. Again, we just gotta rate based off of what we can see, and what we can see is that he's nowhere near his teammate, and he's struggling. So, yeah, true. And he messed up the start, which he said was one of the worst starts he's ever done. Casa, what does that do about the strip? He got lapped by Max. Oof. All right, we're getting 3 for Yuki. At least he didn't crash, though. At least he didn't crash. You don't read YouTube live chat. I do sometimes. Quatavitovic. But Twitch is always the priority for what I read. All right, majority of you guys saying 3 as well. That is fair. That is fair. All right, and the final driver to miss out on points, we've got Isaac Hedger. What do you guys rate Hedger out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. Yeah, so Hedger outqualified his teammate by 3 tenths. Hedger made it through to Q3. Liam didn't. He was actually best of the rest in qualifying, so he actually did a really, really good job. And then in the race, he lost a position off the start or gained a position off the start. I can't remember now. But unfortunately, he had problems with his engine and he fell back to P11. He defended Alonso really well. Yeah, I think the only reason he didn't finish in the points is because of issues. I'm not going to give him a 10 or a 9 because we'll never know. But I thought he had a good weekend. Excuse me. I'm going to give him a 7. I think giving him any lower than a 7 is not fair because those issues weren't his fault. But yeah, I can't really give him an 8, 9, or 10 because we didn't really get to see how the rest of his weekend played out. Who knows what it would have been like. But based off of qualifying, he did really well. And based off of what I saw from his race pace and defending, he did really well. I'm going to bump it up to 7.5, actually. I'm going to 7.5. Hedger's just avoiding going to Red Bull next year. Yeah, I'm going to go 7.5. All right, majority of you guys saying 6, 7. Ah! All right, we move on to the points finishers now. We have got Carlos Sainz. What do you guys rate Carlos out of 10? Get your votes in. If you just tuned again, guys, we're doing our driver ratings for the Singapore Grand Prix. We do this every Monday after a Grand Prix weekend. If you want to vote on the poll, all you have to do is join Twitch chat and type the number you want to vote for in the chat, and it will pop up on the poll. So Sainz in qualifying, where did he qualify? I think he qualified P11 or something, right? Or P12. He did out qualify Albon, but they still didn't make Q3, but I think they should have. Then they got DSQ'd, and he started from last and made his way up to P10 to get a point. He had an awesome race. I do still think his qualifying was not great though, so I'm gonna knock a point off for that. But I think an 8.5. I think an 8.5 for Sainz. I think 8.5 is fair. If you gave Albon a 4, you can't put him too high, basically the same. True, but Sainz actually got a point, and Albon didn't. 0 to 10 simply because no highlights at all. Yeah, we didn't see it. That's another thing. We can't really... It's hard to rate when they're not on the screen at all. No safety car log strat still work. Yeah, made it work. Yeah, I can get 8.5 for Sainz. Outqualified his teammate. Got fucked by the DSQ. Worked his way up to finish P10. Yeah, I think solid work from Sainz. Actually, part of me wants to move L1 up to a 5 now. Yeah, majority of you guys saying a 9. Okay. I think it's a little bit high given the fact that his quality wasn't great, but still, I don't mind it. All right, next up, we have got Ollie Behrman. What a weekend from the young lad. Poll is up in chat. What do you rate Ollie Behrman's Singapore Grand Prix weekend? So, Ollie, in qualified P19. He outqualified his teammate by 5/10. He also outqualified Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg, Liam Lawson, Yuki Tsunoda, Gabriel Bortoleto. The only other person he could have outqualified in qualifying was Hadjar. And Hadjar is in a much quicker car in the V-Carb and was only 20 milliseconds up the road. So honestly, Ollie has smashed qualifying out of the park. And then in the race, he's managed to hold on to P9 to finish second best of the rest. Again, who knows where Ollie would have actually finished if Hadjar didn't have car problems. But still, he only finished 8 seconds behind Lewis in the end, but 13 seconds down on Alonso. Yeah, I think Ollie's had an absolutely amazing weekend. And I'm tempted to give him a 9. I tend to give him a 9.5, to be honest. I think he's really maximized his car this weekend. He's really maximized his car this weekend. And yeah, you're right, outclassed his teammates. So I go 9.5. I'd only give him a 10 if he... Actually, yeah, I'd give him a 10 if he outqualified Hadjar and finished closer to Alonso. Other than that, 9.5. That was amazing work from Ollie in the Haas. Majority of you guys saying 9 as well. So we agree. All right, next up, we have got Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, interesting weekend for Lewis. He outqualified Charles, which is rare. He outqualified Charles by a 10th. And then he was also outracing Charles, I believe, for most of the race. We caught Charles, something like that. Yeah, I think he caught Charles, didn't he?
As for Albon, fine.
Wait. No, look, sorry, I forgot. So, Lewis qualified ahead of Charles, but then dropped behind him because of the race starting on the dirty side of the grid. And then he had all those problems at the end, which meant he dropped, and then he cut all the corners and lost out to Alonso. Look, I still think Lewis had a great weekend. A good weekend for Ferrari's standards. He was only a 10th off of Norris in quali as well, and again outqualified his teammate for the first time, which is really done. I'm gonna say a 7. I think it's a solid weekend. I'm gonna ignore the brake issues. I do think it was a bit silly having the brake problems and then cutting all the corners, but at the same time, he only got a 5-second penalty. If he retired, he wouldn't have got any points. And yeah, I don't know. I think 7's fair. He's about to fight Kimmy. He caught him, but then he fell back of his brakes. Yeah. Ferrari standards. All right, majority of you guys saying a 6. I think that's a little bit low for Lewis's weekend, but yeah. All right, next up, we have got Fernando Alonso. What do you rate Alonso out of 10? Now, Alonso made it through to Q3 while his teammates down in Q1. He out-qualified him by 2/10. Then, in the race, he finished best of the rest, P7, even beating Lewis because of Lewis's issues, and finishing 13 seconds up the road from Ollie Behrman. Yeah, he absolutely smashed it. Driver of the day as well. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Is there a world that's not a 10 for Alonso? I feel like it's got to be a 10. Oh, no poll. Oh my god, I keep forgetting to click. All right, poll's up now. Revote. If you already voted, type it again. I don't know what to, is it a 10? It's got to be a 10, right? Maybe qualifying. Yeah, sorry. Even though he absolutely smashed strong qualifying, he still got out qualified by Behrman and Hadja. Yeah, I'm gonna go 9.5. I'm gonna go 9.5 for Alonso. I think that car was best the rest this weekend. Also Hadja not being in the race to properly fight him. I mean, or to actually be able to hold him off. Yeah, maybe made Alonso look a little bit better. And Alonso got held up by Hadja for a while. Hey, me. Yeah, I'm gonna put it to a 9. Actually, I think I'm gonna drop it to a 9. Yeah, I think 0.5 off for quali because he could have out-qualified Behrman and Hadja, and then I think in the race, like, Hadja wasn't in it, so it's kind of hard to tell, and he was kind of gifted P7 by Lewis, so yeah, I think a 9's fair. Hadja qualified high, and I think Aston was a quicker car this weekend. Yeah, I agree. 9's fair. Majority of you guys say 9 as well, so we agree on that one. All right, let's move on to the big boys now. We have got Charles Leclerc. What do you guys vote Charles out of 10? Get your votes in on the poll. We're doing for Halloween. Halloween is still a while away. I don't think I'm doing anything for Halloween at this stage. So Charles Leclerc got out qualified by his teammate by 1/10. He made a mistake on his qualifying lap, and then in the race managed to finish ahead of Lewis only because of Lewis's issues. So he would have finished behind Lewis if it wasn't for that. Excuse me. Charles did have an amazing start, though. He got past Lewis and Kimi, but I think he did lose out. He would have lost out to Lewis if it wasn't for Lewis's issues. So, yeah, I'm going to give Leclerc a 6, I think. I think a 6 is fair. If I'm giving Lewis a 7, I think a 6 for Leclerc is fair because he out-qualified by him and got out-raced by him. 6 couldn't do anything. Lift and coast from lap 6. Yeah, true. A lot of lift and coast as well, yeah. 7 Charles is doing Lyco the whole race. Well, if I bump Leclerc up higher than 6, I have to bump Lewis up because I gave Lewis a 7, and Lewis was better in quali and had better race based. Sure, he should be better in quali, especially at a track like this. I agree. Yeah, I think 6 is fair. 6, 7. What did you give Hamilton? I gave Hamilton a 7, I think. Maybe I give Lewis a 7.5 and Leclerc a 6.5. Does that work? Alright, I'm going 6.5 for Leclerc. Lewis, 7.5. Alright, majority of you guys saying 6, 7, 6, 8. You guys are doing that on purpose? I feel like you guys are doing that on purpose now. Oh my god, I feel like shit right now, lads. I'm not lying to you. Alright, next up, we have got Kimi Antonelli. Kimi had a bit of a weird weekend, you know? Because it was nice to see him in the mix at the front, but he was out-qualified by his teammate by 4/10. He did out-qualify Lando, though, which is good. And then in the race, finished 33 seconds behind his teammate, but finished ahead of the Ferraris. So, you know, relative to his teammate, poor weekend. Relative to his teammate, poor performance. relative to the cars around him, I mean, he did his job, right? He brought a Mercedes home, but maybe he should be bringing it home on the podium. I think I'm going to give Kimi a 6. I think he's been outclassed by his teammate in both quali and the race. And, you know, if your teammate's winning the race, you should at the least be on the podium, not finishing P5. 33 seconds down. Bit harsh. Okay, but hear this out, right? Let's take Kimi's name out of it. Right? A driver finishes 33 seconds behind their teammate, and their teammate wins the race. And they get out qualified by their teammate by 4/10. It's still harsh if you take an aim out of it. But 33 seconds down on your teammate. That's Stroll status. That's Yuki Tsunoda status. Like, if your teammate's winning the race, you should at least be on the podium, in my opinion. If it's by that much margins. Yeah, I'm sticking to a 6. Like, okay, yeah, he's done his job. He's got a P5 in a Mercedes, but when your teammate's winning, you need to be doing better than that. But you only highlight the negatives. The way you made it sound, 33 seconds behind alone should be 4 or 5 on paper, though. It's, you should have been battling Lando. You mean Piastri? And he had a bad race start as well, which didn't help. That's a bit harsh. But look, Russell's managed to hold off Max, Lando, and Piastri, and Antonelli's not even managed to keep up with them. I think a 6 is fair. I think a 6 is, he's done it. He's got a result. He's finished where it's better. I think he's finished in a position where it doesn't make him look bad. But if the Fries had done better, then he would look bad when your teammate's winning. Maybe 6 or 7. How's it going? Corey, Berlin, Grace, streamer vids. What's up, guys? What'd you give Lewis? I gave Lewis 7.5, I think. Yeah, 7.5. And Lewis did better than Charles. And yeah. I don't know. I think, yeah, maybe for rookie standards, it's a 7. But I think for Mercedes standards, that's a 6. I'm sticking with that. You guys are saying 7, though. Look, I don't disagree. I just think you're going to be harsh on a driver whose teammate is winning the race when you're finishing 30 seconds behind them. All right. Moving on. Yo, streamer vids. Save the 90 bits, dude. Next up, we have got Oscar Piastri. Oh, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Oscar here. Get your votes in on the poll. If you're just tuning on in, welcome on in. We are doing our driver ratings for the Singapore Grand Prix. We do this every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend. If you want to vote on the poll, all you have to do is come over to Twitch chat and type in Twitch chat the number that you want to vote for. Okay, Piastri, let's talk about it. Now, qualifying. He qualified P3, which, to be honest, I think that's where the McLaren was expected to be. I think he should have maybe been closer to Max and Russell in terms of time, but I think that's where he's expected to be. He did outqualify his teammate, though, barely, but still finished in P3 while Lando was down in P5. However, on the race start, he got dicked down by Lando, and Piastri was on the good side of the grid. And then his pace just completely fell off. Now, he did close the gap up to Lando at the end, but on the first stint, I thought his pace was shocking. You know, he also had a bad pit stop as well. Got given a bad pit stop, but yeah, I think qualifying was good. Let's just say good. Like, it was probably where I'd expect him to be. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But yeah, I thought his race pace lacked, and I thought letting your championship rival just send it on the inside on you just wasn't great. So I'm gonna say, what did I give Lewis? 7.5. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. 7 for finishing P4 behind your teammate in a championship car. I don't know. Is that too high? Is that fair? Nah, I've given Kimi a 6, and Kimi got dicked by his teammate. Oscar didn't get dicked by his teammate. I think 7's fair. Oh, it's so hard. It's so relative, right? Like, You finished 2 seconds behind your teammate. If I drop it any lower than this, so he's going to have the same rating as the driver who finished 33 seconds behind his teammate. It's so hard because, like, he still finishes P4. He still only finished 2 seconds behind his teammate. And maybe you could have had a go at Lando if it wasn't for his pit stop issue. Serena, what is up? Welcome to the stream. It wasn't if it wasn't a championship car this weekend though. Yeah. Thank you for the follow, Serena. Downrate Kimmy to fix. Everyone said my rating for Kimmy already was too harsh. I think I'm gonna keep him as 7. I think I'm gonna keep him as 7. Yeah. Even though it wasn't a great weekend for Piastri, it wasn't bad. All right, we move on to the top 3 now. Majority of you guys saying 6 for Piastri. I think that's low. You guys are saying I was being harsh on Antonelli. Are you kidding me? All right, next up, we have got in the top 3, Lando Norris. What do you rate Lando out of 10? So Lando in qualifying got out-qualified by Piastri. It was only minimal margins though. He also got out-qualified by Antonelli. So it was a pretty average qualifying for Lando, if I'm being honest. However, in the race, straight past Kimi, straight alongside Oscar, went for the move. It was sloppy. Look, it was sloppy. It was not executed well. I think if it was executed well, I'd have maybe more of a reason to give him a higher rating. But it wasn't executed well. He almost took his teammate out. Obviously, that doesn't come into play about a performance, but still. At the end of the day, he finished ahead of his teammate. His race pace was decent, and he put the pressure on Max, but he wasn't able to get past Max. So I feel like I can't give Lando higher than an 8. I feel like it was like, okay, look, you did your job, you beat your teammate in the race, but your race pace wasn't good enough to get past Max, and your qualifying was kind of lacking. So I'm gonna give Lando an 8, maybe even an argument of 7.5. I'm even maybe even an argument for 7.5. I'm just in a ranking that put Oscar above Lando. What do you guys think? Do you think 7.5 is fair? Because Oscar did qualify better, and the 0.5 Lando did better was beating Piastri. The race pace was similar, and Lando couldn't get past Max. Great race pace, poor qualifying. Was it great race pace though? He couldn't get past Max. No one was able to get past this weekend though. True. 7. I think if Lando qualified where Oscar did, he would have been able to get Max at the start. Yeah, I'm thinking of 7.5 to be honest. It's hard. An 8. I'm gonna go 7.5. I'm gonna drop it down. Out-qualified by Kimi and Oscar. And struggled to get past Max. In Piastri, I gave a 7. And that's purely because he lost off the start. And that's it. If Lando's move had to been cleaner, I would have given him an 8. But because it wasn't clean, I'll go 7.5. It was just pretty good, like you said, Sunrai. I'm gonna go 7.5. Majority of you guys saying an 8 though. I'm not mad about that. All right. In P2, we have got Max Verstappen. What do you rate Max's weekend out of 10? So Max qualified P2. He was 2/10 behind Russell. You could argue it was Lando's fault on that final lap that he made a mistake, but I think Max has just done that on his own, to be honest. That's just the way it is in qualifying. So yeah, P2 is great, but it could have been better, I think. And then in the race, the softs was a weird decision. You know, he's partly a reason as to why they go on to softs. And then, yeah, he couldn't get close to Russell at all, but he did an amazing job of holding on for a P2 and finishing ahead of Lando. So I'm going to give him a 9. I think 0.5 off for quali and 0.5 off for like race strategy and whatever. And he made a mistake during the race as well, but he was managing issues really, really well as well. he did an amazing job of managing all those issues that he was having. So I think 9's fair. I think 9's very, very fair. Red Bull's a fast car all weekend, but still managed to stay within 2 seconds of max the whole race, pretty much. Probably needed the softs to keep P2 at the start on the dirty side of the grid. Done well and used softs at the start, yeah. Just, yeah, imagine what would... I wonder if it would have been any different if you started on mediums. Maybe he would have lost a place off the start if he had to start on mediums. All right, majority of you guys saying 9 for Max. We pretty much all agree on that. Which leaves our boy, George Russell, Mr. P1, last to rate. Yeah, what a weekend from George. P1 in qualifying, 2 tenths ahead of Max and 4 tenths ahead of Piastri, and out-qualified his teammate by 4 tenths. And then in the race, led the entire race. Didn't even see him on the broadcast, basically, because he was so far out in front. Had absolutely no problems, no mistakes, no nothing. Absolutely flawless from George. A great turnaround from his crash in FP2. So a solid 10 for George. The only 10 of the weekend and the highest rated driver of the weekend. And yeah, majority of you guys saying 10 as well. So we all agree on that. Yeah. Banger from Russell. He joins the 10 club. I think he's already had a 10 this year. I think probably would have been Canada maybe. But yeah. Guys, that wraps up the driver ratings. I know we did that really, really quick. I'm not feeling the best right now, so just kind of banged it out today. But who were the highest rated of the weekend? We got 10 for Russell, 9 for Max, 9.5 for Behrman. Who else? Who else did we have? Did Alonso get 9? I think Alonso got 9, right? Absolutely perfect weekend. Own quali, beat Kimi, led start to finish. He had exactly the weekend he needed. He didn't get faster slap though. Yeah, no grand slam, unfortunately. Not gonna lie, both Mercedes had a good weekend. I disagree on Kimi. If your teammate's winning, you should at least be on the podium. In my opinion. What do you give Ollie? I gave Ollie 9.5. I gave Ollie 9.5. All right, guys, that is going to wrap up the driver ratings for today. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, be sure to follow down below. We do driver ratings like this every single Monday after a Grand Prix weekend. So join me after the United States Grand Prix. Apologies for kind of like rushing through it and like not talking so much and the lack of energy with that one. I've been sick this last week, so it just hit me like a brick after streaming for 5 hours. But still, appreciate you guys all joining me for rating the drivers. YouTube, I'm going to end the stream there. So thank you guys all for watching. Be sure to like down below, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.